My dear sisters and brothers, have you ever wondered why the most sincere people you know seem to go through the hardest times? The person who prays on time, who is kind to everyone, who never misses a chance to help someone in need, why does life seem to hit them the hardest? And meanwhile, someone who barely thinks about their creator seems to sail through life without a single major difficulty. So, if you have ever asked this question, even quietly, even in a moment of frustration, then tonight's reminder is for you. I want to tell you something that might completely change the way you look at every hardship you have ever faced and every hardship you will face in the future. Difficulty is not always a punishment. In fact, for the people Allah loves the most, difficulty is often a sign of closeness, not distance. It is a sign of attention, not neglect. It is proof that you have been noticed, not proof that you have been abandoned. Think about this carefully. If a trial was purely a punishment, then the most sinful people on earth would be facing the most hardship, and the most righteous people would be living the easiest lives. But that is not what we see, is it? We see righteous people going through illness, loss, betrayal, financial struggle, and heartbreak, while some of the least mindful people seem to move through life untouched. This is not random. This is not unfair. This is part of a system far more intelligent and far more merciful than we can fully comprehend with our limited human perspective. When someone is given comfort after comfort, ease after ease, with nothing ever challenging them, sometimes that is not a blessing at all. Sometimes that is a person being left to their own devices, drifting further and further from any need to turn back to their Creator. And when someone is given trial after trial, sometimes that is not neglect. Sometimes that is a being who loves that person so much that he keeps pulling them back, keeps reminding them, keeps giving them reasons to return, to reflect, to grow. Think about the relationship between a parent and a child for a moment. A parent who truly loves their child does not let that child do whatever they want without correction. A parent who truly loves their child sets boundaries, gives consequences, and sometimes allows the child to struggle through something difficult. Not because the parent enjoys watching the child suffer, but because the parent knows that struggle builds character, resilience, and wisdom that comfort alone could never build. Now take that same principle and multiply the love, the wisdom, and the mercy infinitely, and you begin to understand, even just a little, why the ones who are loved the most are often tested the most. I know this is easier to say than to feel when you are in the middle of the storm. When you are the one lying awake at night, worried about your health, your finances, your marriage, your children, it does not feel like love. It feels like abandonment. It feels like punishment. It feels like everyone else's life is moving forward while yours is standing still, or worse, falling apart. I understand that feeling, and I am not here tonight to tell you that feeling is wrong. I am here to offer you a different lens to look through, one that does not erase the pain, but gives the pain a purpose. Every difficulty you face is doing something to you. Whether you can see it in the moment or not, it is either purifying something within you, teaching you something you could not have learned any other way, elevating your status in ways you cannot yet measure, or preparing you for something ahead that requires the very strength this trial is building in you right now. Nothing you go through as a person of faith is ever wasted. Not the tears you cried alone at night, not the disappointments no one else knows about, not the years that felt like they were going nowhere. All of it is being accounted for. All of it is being weighed. All of it matters. There is something else I want you to consider. The people history remembers most, the people whose names are still spoken with love and respect generations later, were almost always people who went through immense trials. Think about anyone you admire, anyone whose story moves you, anyone whose patience inspires you. Chances are their story is not one of an easy, comfortable life. Their story is one of hardship met with unwavering faith. That is what made them remarkable. Not the absence of struggle, but the presence of steadfastness in the middle of struggle. This means that the very trial you are going through right now, the one that feels unbearable, the one you wish would just disappear, might actually be shaping you into someone whose story will one day inspire somebody else. Someone, somewhere, is going to go through something similar to what you are going through right now, and they are going to need to see how you handled it. Your patience today could become someone else's hope tomorrow. Now, I also want to speak honestly about something that often gets overlooked. And being tested does not mean you have to suffer in silence and pretend everything is fine. It is not a weakness to seek help. Whether that is speaking to someone you trust, seeking professional support for your mental health, or simply allowing yourself to grieve, cry, and feel the weight of what you are going through. Strength and faith does not mean suppressing your pain. It means bringing your pain honestly before Allah, and also using the means He has placed on this earth to help you carry it. I want you to also understand that trials are not always about you doing something wrong. Sometimes people assume that if they are struggling, it must mean Allah is upset with them, or that they are being punished for a sin. While reflection and self-accountability are always healthy, do not fall into the trap of assuming every hardship is a direct punishment for a specific mistake. Not some trials exist purely to elevate you, to test your patience, to prepare you for a role ahead, or simply because this world, by its very nature is a place of testing for every single human being who has ever lived, regardless of how righteous they are. Let's talk about patience for a moment, because that word gets used so often that it starts to lose its weight. Patience is not simply waiting quietly without complaint. Real patience is continuing to do good, continuing to have hope, continuing to show up for your responsibilities, your prayers, your family, and your own well-being, even while the pain is still there, even while the situation is not resolved. Patience is not the absence of struggle. Patience is choosing faith and continued effort in the middle of struggle. I also want to remind you that no trial lasts forever. Every difficulty you have ever faced in your life, up until this point, you survived. Every single one. Every heartbreak, every loss, every moment you thought you could not continue, you are still here. That is not a coincidence. That is a pattern. That pattern should tell you something about your own resilience, and it should tell you something about the support that has been carrying you through, even in moments you felt completely alone. If you are in the middle of a difficult season right now, I want you to hold on to this thought. This trial is not evidence that you are forgotten. If anything, the intensity of what you are going through might be evidence of exactly the opposite. Allah does not test the ones He has no plans for. He tests the ones He intends to elevate, to purify, to prepare, and to bring closer to Him, even if the process feels far from gentle in the moment. So as we close tonight, I want to leave you with something simple, but something I hope you carry with you long after this reminder ends. The next time life feels heavy, the next time you find yourself asking why this is happening to you, try shifting the question just slightly. Instead of asking why this is happening to me is, ask what this is trying to teach me, build in me, or prepare me for. That single shift in perspective will not remove the pain, but it will give the pain a purpose, and a purpose is often exactly what makes pain bearable. You are not being punished. You are being shaped. You are not being forgotten. You are being watched over closely, even in the silence, even in the waiting, even when it feels like no one notices what you are carrying. Trust that process. Hold on to your patience and know that the very difficult you are facing today may one day become the exact reason your faith, your character, and your story become stronger than you ever imagined they could be.